pages. And what they'll do is they'll take an obscure provision in the policy, misapply it, and use that as a reason for non-payment. And it's hard enough as an attorney, 33 years, to understand these policies, but for a homeowner for the first time who files their first claim is very, very difficult. So when you have a claims adjuster saying, we're not going to pay this because this provision says about pre-existing damage, we're not paying it, they're sort of throwing up their hands. I said, well, how do we prove something that we know but can't be proved, such as pre-existing damages? And so, a lot of times these provisions in the policy are misapplied as a basis for the insurance company not to pay out the true extent of the claim. When people buy their policies, they think the insurance company is going to help them quantify their damages, and they're not.
What does that mean?
To bring it down to a number, saying this is how much it costs to fix the damages. And a lot of people are under the impression, well, the insurance company will help tell us what the damages are and they'll pay us. But that's not the way it is. The way they advertise, you would think that's the way that insurance companies work, but they really don't. And so really, the insurance companies don't tell you is that if you do have a claim, you're going to have to get out there, crack some heads, and make your case. So I always tell homeowners, I said, if you're a football coach, you don't expect the defense to score your points. You're going to have to put your helmet on, and you have to play, and you have to play hard in order to get the full extent of your damages. And that's what we do for you, is we put our helmet on and we crack heads, and we keep after it until there's some type of resolution that the policyholder or the homeowner is acceptable to them. And if they want to go to trial, we'll go to trial, and we will gladly throw these issues in front of any judge and jury as to whether the insurance companies are doing their job or not.
So the homeowner then says, more money, an attorney, more money, more money, more money?
Yeah, one of the things, too, is there's no upfront cost for the clients. And if we don't recover anything, we eat all the costs. So there's really no risk. So we advance all the cost, and then our fees are lower than market value or market rate of other attorneys. It makes it easier to resolve the case because the homeowners get more money in their pocket, and it's not most of it or half of it's going to the attorney. So it's really low risk, no risk. If there's no collection, there's no money that's paid out. Yeah. And I think one aspect of determining the damages is, homeowners who do a very good job in presenting their claim, a lot of times they'll present an electrical invoice, a plumbing invoice, a sheetrock invoice, a general contractor's invoice, a air conditioning invoice, and then the insurance companies kick it back and say, well, there's not enough specificity, or there may be some overlap. It doesn't state whether there's pre-existing damage or not. There's not enough pictures, and they just find a reason to kick back those different invoices. But what we do is we use the same computer program as the insurance companies called Xactimate. So they can't kick it back saying we don't understand the estimate or it's not definitive as far as the scope and unit cost. So we're comparing apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and we're speaking the same language as the insurance company. So that, therefore, since we're using their program, or the programs they use to assess damages, they can't come back and say we don't understand your estimate. And that's very effective. And also, too, we like to use claims adjusters who used to work for the insurance companies because they understand the vulnerabilities of those estimates. And they are often told not to write certain type of damages, or they had other issues where they submitted the damages to their desk adjuster, the insider, and they scratched off those particular damages and came out with an estimate that's far less than what they recommended. So they understand that dynamics.
What's that?
Yeah. Well, I think as far as the claims process is concerned, is we do have some good laws on the books that there's, like Albert said, they're supposed to pay out undisputed damages. And what you have to do is throw the ball in their court and get that clock running and get those undisputed damages out initially. And also, it's nice to have an enforcement mechanism on them and hold them accountable for some of the, I want to say, incorrect, I'm being kind, maybe I could say a lot worse, reasons they're denying a claim. And there's very interesting things that have happened. For example, there's something called a write-down, where the field adjuster comes out and they might write in an estimate for $200,000. Then they send it back to the desk adjuster, and then the desk adjuster takes out a lot of the estimate and sends back $20,000. And part of what we do as attorneys is we know that they have that first estimate that might be $200,000 that they're holding back. If we let them know that we know about it and that we're going to get a hold of it, all of a sudden the insurance company's attitude changes, and they're like, oh no, we have this estimate that says something close to what we're claiming, and that if we hold on to it and don't pay it, we can be vulnerable to penalties and attorney's fees. So part of it is to identify the things, the tactics that the insurance companies use that most people would never know. But once you let them know, hey, send me over that first estimate. And if you're required to under the law, and if you don't do that, that's bad faith. A lot of times, those are the type of things that will improve your claim and where you can get the full extent of your damages. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think the headline is, if you had truth in advertising, the commercials that you see on TV is, we'll collect your premium, and if you have a claim, we're going to fight you like hell. And so at least if you know what the playing field is, and I always describe what we do, is we're like little Roman soldiers that start throwing spears at the insurance company, and we keep throwing them at them until they're ready to deal fairly with the clients. And that's what we do, is we fight them and we beat them based on the rules that they set and the law that's in favor of homeowners. So you make the rules, okay, we're going to beat you with your own rules. And we're going to use the law that we have on the books right now in order to get the correct result for the homeowner. And that's what we have to do. And it's just the understanding that the insurance companies are not a 501c3 nonprofit. They're not out there for you. They're not looking out for your interests. And what we're doing is we get up there and we go to battle. And there's two reasons that people call us. One, they become emotionally exhausted with the process, or two, that they feel like they're not going to get another dollar from the insurance company. And like Albert said, we're so confident that we will get additional money for you that we're willing to eat any of the costs and expenses of filing a claim if we don't collect anything. And that very rarely, if ever, happens. Because as an industry, the insurance company underpays, and we know how to beat them at their own rules, and that's what we do.
You talked about, when we were just talking, I mean, like you said, that's their job. From the bottom person to the first person to the last person is to give them the lowest. Who knows, right? So you talked about a situation where a subdivision of roof damages across the board.
Right.
You said, offering patches. I mean, take me, if you can, we're not mentioning any insurance.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? The patch, half, take me through that process.
Well,
That's what they do.
I was actually in the room when they said it, in a different context 20 years ago. And they would say, within this geographical region, we understand that the roofs need to be replaced. That's a given. But what we're going to do is we're going to offer a patch, and we can get rid of 20% of claims. And then the people who are still standing, we'll offer them a fourth of a roof. We can get rid of another 30% of claims. And then the people who are still standing, maybe 40% of claims, we'll offer them a half. We can get rid of another 20 or 25%, and there's only 10 or 15% standing. And what we tell homeowners is, if they're offering you a half a roof, it's like asking a young lady, are you half pregnant? At a half roof, you either need a new roof or you don't need one at all. And so that is like, saying they do that. It's a industry strategy to reduce the amount of payout based on consumer psychology. And it works, because they still do it, and they will do it to the end of time. And the only thing we can do in our little corner is be the little Roman soldier that goes in there and fights it and beats that system. Yeah, I could speak to a homeowner, and as a homeowner ourselves, we had a roof collapse in one of our rooms. We took 18 buckets and collected the water for 7 hours, and we were bringing it outside in 100-mile-an-hour winds. And it's also, right after the hurricane, we bought a generator and we bought 2 kitchen fans to save another $100,000 of damage. And I mean, we worked for 2 days to save the majority of our house from getting wet. And we confined it to one room. And we submitted the claim. We submitted the claim for the generator, for the fan that saved them about $100,000 worth of damage, and we still hadn't heard from them. And they're going to hear from us very soon. And so I understand as a homeowner. And, when I get on the phone with my insurance company, I think my wife wants to go through the phone and wring his neck because of the stupid excuses that they give us. And, I just tried to reason with them. I said, look, this generator saved you $100,000 of damage. These 2 kitchen fans that cost $200 saved you $100,000 of damage, because if it went into the next room, it would have been done. The whole first floor would have been done. And we hadn't been paid. We're going to file suit just like everyone else, and we're going to hold them accountable. But man, it is infuriating as a homeowner to listen to such illogical responses, especially when we did everything we're supposed to under the policy to mitigate our damages, to even do things that were highly uncomfortable in order to save, from damages, and that's just not accounted for.
Which is, people are tired, man. It's like, it's that emotional, like I have my kids in school, I got the other thing. You can't stop life and work on this claim.
Right. Well, and that's the best thing. I think the biggest relief when we get hired is all they're going to have to basically do is email us their claim summary, their photos, and their correspondence, and we take it from there. And the only decisions they're going to really have to make is, should we take this amount that's being offered or not? Their participation is, we're the employer, they're the employer, we give them the bottom line, and they have to make a decision. And that's a big weight off their shoulder, that they don't have to put the claims together, they don't have to put the estimates together, they don't have to haggle with the insurance company. We just ought to come back with, okay, this is where we are now, do you want us to go further, or are you good now? And Albert sort of made a good point about, like, they don't want to go to trial. And I think of the handful of trials, one of the trials we had, the claims adjuster said, well, we had so many claims it took us 9 months to get the check out. And what I responded to her, which resonated with everyone, I said, you mean to tell me you couldn't get a check out in 9 months? They just built the Superdome across the street in 9 months after Hurricane Katrina, and you can't write a check for 9 months? And that resonated with the jury, because they're like, I get it. And so one of the things that the courts have learned, though, since Katrina, is they have these case management orders where they're ordering the insurance company and the party, as soon as you file suit, to have these mini mediations. And a lot of times, if you can get that particular claims adjuster focused on that claim for about 3 or 4 hours, you're going to settle the case. Because if you step in the claims adjuster's shoes, they might have to manage 200 claims. So every day in their office, it's just putting out fires. It's not being proactive in addressing those claims. So a lot of times these mediations are a forum that you can resolve the claims, and a lot of the judges in certain districts, St. John's Parish, Jefferson Parish, federal court, is saying, no, we're not going to go through this litigation process. We're going to find out right now whether this claim can be settled or not. And so that is cutting down the time period in waiting in litigation.
And one more thing, because I know you talked about it earlier, and that people go, and I don't want to get locked into dates where we are, because I don't know where this is going to air, but they go, dude, August 29th, 2021, that's forever ago. I'm done. My window of opportunity is over. That's not true.
Actually, you have till August 29, 2023 to file a lawsuit. So even if you spent a year and a half trying to settle your claim and you hit that wall or you're emotionally exhausted, you still can turn it over, and our contractors can forensically submit the claim based on the repairs that you've done and the repairs that need to be done. Yeah, well, I think homeowners and business owners make good citizens. And in any community where you have a lot of home ownership, you have good citizens, and and they're normally taxpayers, moms and dads who have families, children. They're the ones who make this society work. It's not politicians. It's not people. It's the middle class, and to have this affect the class that makes the society work is infuriating. And so it is, a passion. And, this is, we're in it because we're one of them and they're one of us. And so I think it's and I enjoy meeting with good citizens. I enjoy with listening to their stories. I enjoy these business owners. I enjoy listening to the stories about the moms. I enjoy listening to the stories about, you know, what they do for their kids. I enjoy listening about their neighborhoods. I enjoy all that. And it makes me more passionate to want to give them a part of their life back where they can resume their standing in their community.
Surprised at when you drive into work to this day, how many roofs are still where they stand?
Yes, and I think a lot of it is without knowledge, understanding the process. And you know, on WWL has dedicated, WWL Radio has dedicated hours upon hours, allowing Albert and I to get on the air to talk about what you need to know and the knowledge you need to know in order to get what you're supposed to get or what you contracted for under an insurance policy. Such as simple with roofs. You know, I think we put out a lot of information is when you have a roofer repair your roof, just put in there that the roof had to be replaced due to Hurricane Ida. It could not be repaired, and this is why it needed to be replaced. That one paragraph is the difference between getting paid on a roof and not. And so we put a lot of information out there on our website, on radio, and in any type of social media as to this information to help the homeowners, give them knowledge so they can collect on their claim.
Why is that one paragraph? What does that do? What is that?
Well, that one paragraph tells
I'm
you.
writing that? I'm writing
No,
that?
well, you get the roofer
Right.
to write what was the cause of the damage, why did you come up to that conclusion, and the fact that your roof cannot be patched or repaired. It has to be replaced. And what that does, it gives a document giving causation as to why the roof needs to be replaced, and it takes away the excuse of the insurance company on not paying the roof.
Yeah. Boards. That's where the money is. Why this?
Well, I like I said, I like interacting with good citizens who are, you know, homeowners who make this society work. And why should they hire us? Because we're competent, we're experienced, we make the complex understandable, and we're accountable. And one of the ways we're accountable is we're on radio every week at WWL, which is a superstation here. I mean, that's accountability there because, you know, it's a call in, they listen to us every weekend, and so and we're part of the community. We as part of the community and we're New Orleans. We're Southeast Louisiana. So that's the reason why, and we do a heck of a good job, and we love to compete, and we love to compete on your behalf, and we love to win.
And I would also say, what do you got to lose, right? At
The
this
home.
juncture, what do you got to lose?
The
Take
home.
a look at it.
The homeowner has nothing to lose, only to gain. Because a lot of times, as Albert said earlier, is before they called us, they were ready to walk away. So you're playing with the dealer's money in some ways, and so we'll get after it for you. And I sincerely think we're the best option if you hit that wall or you emotionally exhausted and trying to process